Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the jump seat. Dave, how are you this afternoon?
I am great, John. It's great to be back in the jump seat with you after a little 2 week break there. And welcome to all our guests, wherever you're joining us from today.
For those
So,
joining for the first time, the jump seat, it's a weekly spotlight bringing you key industry insight, thought leaders, and subject matter experts affecting both you and your fire department. It's hosted by two jump seat firefighters, myself, John Martins, along with Dave Durstein here. We are in season 2, episode 9. For those just joining in, we've got a whole, I guess, selection now of other episodes too that are of all sorts of different topics within the fire service to check out. But Dave, what do we got going on today?
we got a number of things going on, but I just want to say, if you're watching for the first time, you haven't had a chance to follow us before. We love to hear where you all are from. So if you just comment in your whatever social app you're viewing from, we actually can see it there. Hey, John Costello, thanks for joining us from Bucks County. And once again, Kevin from Ontario, Canada. Glad to have you here, Kevin. Hope things are warming up for you up there. So we love to hear from you guys and ask if you have questions anytime during the show. Fire them into the comments field. They pop up on John and I's screen, and we try to address as many as we can throughout the show here as well. But one of the fun things that John and I both get to do and enjoy is kind of talk about what's new and happening in the fire service here. And we actually got a cool new thing to throw out here. Hey, Eric, welcome from Wisconsin, by the way. But we're wanting to point out a new truck that actually got delivered. So if you followed us before, John and I, we have a little passion about SAM and one of the new products we have out in the street. And so we love to talk about them whenever they're hitting the road and really showing off a few of those key things. So without further ado, I'm going to bring one up and on the screen here. This is actually from Custom Fire up in Minnesota there. And they just built this beautiful apparatus that's going to Mount Hope, North Carolina. So this brand new SAM truck will actually be making its way to a little warmer weather. If you can tell there, it's in the snow of Minnesota when that picture was taken, but was actually recently completed and is heading for North Carolina to be delivered here currently. So
pretty exciting. I know a couple months back, we've started showing more of these, and that's because there are more to show. We've got somewhere in the vicinity, I think, of 17 different builders now that have built these, and featuring a first time, innovative solution that the fire service really, I guess I should say, is needed for a long time and hasn't had. So for anybody watching, go check out what SAM is by going to samflows.com, SAMFLOWS.com. If you're wondering what it is, if you know what it is, awesome. We've got several people that join the show that use it. It is something to check out, and let us know on the website there. You can actually get signed up for a demo. So if you're curious or looking at speccing a truck, I would highly encourage you to at least see what it is and learn a little bit about it. So just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, absolutely, John. I mean, there's a number of them hitting the streets. There's more and more every single day. If you follow us on social, as they come out, we're popping them out there, making people aware of where the next SAM is hitting the streets. So congratulations to Mount Hope, North Carolina. I think you're going to have an incredible truck built by those guys up there in Minnesota. The Kravita family does an incredible job. So congratulations, and we hope maybe we can get you guys on the show in the future. After you get it in service and run a few runs on it. I know we're looking to have a few more of those as things come down the pipe. John, what else you got in the fire service? You got anything big?
Yeah, just I think this is not only my region but beyond, but it's been a very busy week and a half with the wildland season in the Midwest. The amount of just the relative humidities obviously are very low, as well as the fuel load is high and very dry. So we've had, and this was actually just the other day here in my district, we had it was a farmer that was burning some pasture up and had a brush pile. This brush pile was lit on, I think it was February 10th. And, he added to it a couple times with limbs and stuff. That fire reignited 2 days ago. So February 10th to almost, it's been March 10th. There you go.
Wow.
That's how dry it's been for us. So we got some rain actually coming right now. It's a good thing. We did have a lot of fires a lot of loss, but also saved some stuff too. So, but nonetheless, the rain is needed here. So what about your district?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about fires, that's probably been our big thing too. I think we ran three brush fires in the last week. Actually, on Tuesday, we had one that was a similar thing. A fire, a gentleman was burning off his field, and of course, it jumped the creek, and next thing you know, it was multiple fields burning. But it's been very similar. And actually, during that fire there, I think there was 4 other fires in our county, brush fires, all burning the exact same time. So, hey, whether we want to admit to it or not, it's brush fire season, maybe a little earlier than normal for us anyhow. I'm not sure about you guys.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're out there, you're watching, be careful in the brush fires. Know it's that time of year. If you're in the market for a portable pump, give John a call, give myself a call. We're definitely willing to hook you up with some stuff from Hale as well as Akron Brass nozzles. But just be careful out there, and the weather conditions can change on a dime and really impact those directions and how wildfires move and change.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right.
Well, John, I think we got a great guest today, and we've killed about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more here in the show, and I think we got an awesome message. So
yeah,
why don't you just take us to the actual jump seat today?
Absolutely. So you may be seeing a familiar face here in just a moment. We've got Chief Jerry Streich, retired, coming in actually for number 2 in the jump seat. He was here. For those who may have seen him, it was actually in July of last year for episode number 13. So. We didn't scare him off too bad. He decided to come back. What inspired this whole episode was something I saw on Facebook from him, and I'm going to let him share all about it. But it has to do with coming out of a fire service retirement about a year later. So first of all, Chief, I want to say welcome back to the jump seat. Thanks for coming and being willing to share today. How are things going for you in your part of the world?
Hey, things are going well. Welcome to Minnesota. My Canadian friend I see is online. Hey, hope all is doing well. We still have some snow here. It's a balmy 45 degrees. I'm ready to get my flip-flops out and just start to enjoy the rest of the season. So, yeah. I tell people all the time I'm really 95 years old, but because I'm frozen half the year, I look a lot younger than I normally am. So.
Right? So now you let your secret out. We have the secret to success there, right?
No, I'm happy to be back. So thanks for having me.
Well, Chief, sorry, John.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it's one of those things. Last time we talked about culture and leadership and some of the speaking and leadership, I'll say coaching that you do and have done. But this topic's a little different. It's more about you, and it's more about the fire service retirement as a whole. Now that you've been through this, first of all, tell us how we got here to this topic, because I know it was something you wrote without the intention of being on the jump seat.
Yeah, no, it's gotten attention, and it surprises me, but I'm really talking about coming back down the ladder. I spent my career trying to climb the ladder. I never even anticipated that I'd be looking at what popped up a year earlier on my Facebook page. It's one of those really cool features that sort of bring back our memory of, hey, here's what happened 1 year ago, and I'm standing at the fire station surrounded by people I love with my helmet and cake and everything else. And it sort of grabbed me a little bit, and I thought, you know what, I've had a year to reflect during COVID especially, but what are some of the things I can just throw out there for the heck of it? It helps me process when I write things down. So let's spit them out. So after that, I'm getting contacted and good stuff, and here I am. So.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, I obviously didn't see the original post. John introduced me to it, but it hit me in an interesting way. There's several key facts that, I would say for those of you who are watching thinking, oh, I'm not retired yet, it's not important for me. No, it is, because it's leading up to that even. And there's things that are great for you to do today that would be beneficial for all. And so, Chief, maybe give us just a little backstory on your history there, and then we'll jump into these your post from February 1st there.
Yeah. So I began in the fire service in 1989. I've spent my career, because we're in Minnesota, which has, I think we're number 49th in the nation of on-call firefighters. There's 20,032 firefighters in Minnesota, and there's about 2,000 of them who actually get paid to do the job. The rest of them are paid on call or volunteer. I've been very fortunate because after serving in the military, I came out as a combat medic. I got right into the fire service as an on-call, but then quickly got into the career side of the fire service. And in order to move into the higher ranking positions, it's simply the case you just move around, because rarely are you going to stay in one department and move from the floor all the way up to the chief position. So I moved around. Of the 32 years, 14 of those years I was a career fire chief. I've been very fortunate as emergency manager, held all the ranks, CFI, investigator, inspector, all that kind of stuff. And I've been really engaged because I love the job. There's nothing that I wanted to do more. I grew up right next to a fire station. I'm that kid. I'm that guy who says, what do you want to do when you grow up? It was me. I look out my window as a kid and there was the fire station. And I go talk to the guys. They'd close the door because they knew I was coming down to the fire station again. And here comes that little pesky guy who wants to see the lights. But that was me.
Yeah.
So, but I'm also a realist. And I knew that someday the job would have to end. It can't go on forever. I know of people who go 40, 50 years. God bless them. They love it. If it's a purpose and a passion for it, do it. But I wasn't that person. So I knew there was an end coming. So I started doing a lot of speaking, a lot of teaching. I have my own consulting business. And, just back right before COVID began, actually, I tried to leave in October, but negotiated with the city administrator to stay a little longer. I stayed until January 31st, and until and by doing so, he gave me some, medical benefits and things like that. So what does it mean? So I threw this post out there, just sort of reflecting on what I've talked about, because reflection is really part of growing. If you don't sit down and think about where you are in the world, like right now, you and I are talking to one another. It's real. This is happening right now. But a lot of times we get drawn out into a whole bunch of different avenues of things that keep our mind wandering, right? But when you sit down and reflect, there probably is a reason why some things didn't work well that you may have been able to change or do something differently to put it in a different direction. I mean, that's reflection. And reflection's also about going home, high-fiving yourself in a mirror, popping a brew or going to work out that makes you feel good, whatever, because you did something really damn good. You have to be proud of yourself and reflect on yourself, right? And that's what I've been doing. I call it downloading, just sort of, because we're always on this heightened awareness in the fire service and public safety in general. And with all the madness going on, we have to sit down and just be quiet and just think, shut everything off and think. So I learned that we're not as well rested as we think we are. I sort of see this in the fire service and like recruitment and staffing levels too, is we sort of get to this new normal in ourselves where we think this is just how I operate every day. I'm like this every day, but what I've learned is, man, I had a lot on me, and my blood pressure seriously went down. It's low. Wow. And it isn't what it used to be, right? We're not as well rested. And that made me think about the $26,000 I received after I retired for my vacation time. Wow, I'm so proud I've got this much vacation. As I look at it now, it wasn't fair to my family. It wasn't fair to myself to not use it. It's a benefit. It's a benefit. And it's there for you to become rested so you can come back and be on your game, right? So that was an interesting one. Find a hobby. I mean, I've got hobbies. But I do have friends who are still in the fire service who have told me I can't retire because I have nothing else to do. And I don't know if you're aware of this. It isn't uncommon for people to retire and die in the first year. It's just, and sometimes they go down a wrong road, right? Sometimes it gets lonely, it gets boring, it gets monotonous, and all of a sudden that first can of beer opens, and then it's a second, and that's, whatever it is, we need something to keep our mind going and keep us strong and healthy. And more
real quick, tell us about this. What do we got here?
Oh yeah, 1973 Volkswagen thing. About six years ago, I moved my dad in with me. We added a house onto my house. We're totally separate, but he's right next door. And we bought a Volkswagen because they're easy to work on. They're German motors and a pretty simple wiring system and so on. And he's owned his own business his whole life, but he used to do a lot of mechanic and hands-on stuff. So we started this to keep his brain sharp. And basically he was my supervisor, telling me what I did and what I didn't do. And but it was sure a lot of fun, and it started a hobby. And now, I build these things, probably 4 or 5 of them a year now. And up in Minnesota, if you see anyone with a convertible, everybody's wondering why, what do you got that thing for? But they're pretty popular up here. Pretty popular.
Yeah.
That's sort of
fun. So that's been a hobby that you've been able to, you shared with your father when he was around, and now it's something you can obviously use to remember him and get your brain on other things in the job, right? It's good for us.
Yeah, it's the decompressing. Some people love to mow the lawn, and because lawnmower time is thinking time, right? And this is my thinking time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next here?
So we had, fitness. I've always tried to stay in some level of fitness. I'm 5'9" probably now, and I'm about 170 pounds, 75 pounds. I try to stay in shape, and I always worked out because I felt it was my duty to serve the community. I felt that there were 70,000 plus people relying on me to get off the truck and be able to carry tools and all my gear and everything without, losing my breath. And I also didn't want the entertainment that occurs when my bottle's the first one that goes off in the crew.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be that guy where all of a sudden through the mask you see all these eyes looking at you like, really, Streich? Because everybody has to go out, right? It happens, but that's where the love falls in, right? So staying in shape, if you really think about the fitness side of it, and we talk about the mental health in the fire service, if your body is physically fit, there's a really good chance that your mind is prepared for the stressors that are going to come when you are challenged with a stressful mental situation, right? Because you're challenging your mind to that same situation when you're running really hard on a treadmill, or when you're going on a long walk, or you're climbing a hill. Fitness isn't all about what you see on the Men's Health magazine with the 6-pack abs. It's about just going out and walking. Our bodies were designed to walk, and just trying to stay fit, right? Try to stay healthy. Keep your mind healthy and your body will be healthy. Keep your body healthy and your mind will be healthy. So whatever that is, just stay moving. And in retirement, it's really important to get up and move. And today I was telling the guys earlier, there's a gym right in the back there that my family gets together, and we get on the treadmill and we get on the elliptical and throw some weights around and pretend like we know what we're doing. But more importantly, we're on each other to get out there. Just like the guys on the crew, when you're crawling on the ground, when you say you're not going to go work out, you get the same eyes, and it sort of puts some pressure on you. So,
I think that's a good one there, Chief. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you don't have to be retired to do that. That starts at John, the young guy on the group right now here. John, you being the youngest. It starts with you just as much as as me and Chief Streich. And so I think that's a great message to just kind of drive home that, you know what, if you're here for the long haul, fitness is going to be a key piece of it. And it doesn't mean you have to have the six-pack app. You're absolutely right. But having some level of regular routine and workout is a benefit for us all. So, so if you're not doing it, do it.
It might be hiding, but everybody's got a six-pack somewhere. So.
Yeah,
it's always there.
It's hidden behind the cake.
Yeah. All right. What do we got? Number 4 here. Expecting the unexpected.
Yeah, you know, the unexpected happens. You all know that. The best part of the job for me, especially when I was an ops guy, was never knowing what was going to happen next, right? And then eventually you start to build this catalog of all of the madness that happens, and you just get used to the same madness, because you've done it a lot. And but expect the unexpected in life too. Things happen. Look what happened in the last year. And let me tell you a story of Deputy Chief Glenn Olson. You may have seen this on some of my Twitter feeds and stuff. But Chief Olson worked for me for many years. He was my deputy. And he ended up getting COVID. I talked to him on November 15th. And he told me, I actually called him because I knew I was going to notify him of one of our firefighters who recently retired who has stage 4 lung cancer. So he called me and told me he had cancer. Can you pass that on to the rest of the crew that would know of me and so on? So I called up Glenn, and Glenn says, hey, I got my own problems. And I said, what's that? He said, I'm having trouble breathing. I said, okay, 1. I said, what else happened? Well, I've got a slight fever. 2, and go now. I said, Glenn, these are all the signs of COVID. You got to go chill. I'll go do that tomorrow. I said, Glenn, go in now. That's a chief's order, joking around. He goes in the next day. He calls me and I said, hey, Chief, how's it going? I go, where are you? Yeah, I'm at the hospital. He's on a BiPAP machine. Hours later, he's intubated 4 months. You can Google it. It made headline news in our area. We brought him home just a couple weeks ago. Expect the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen. And today is not, today you're here right now. You're here right now. There's no guarantee there's going to be tomorrow. And that's true. That is true. But we get caught up in so many things. And as I've talked to John many times about being a young superstar. The first day to be the chief is the first day you put your helmet on, right? Being a chief is an attitude. And you don't need a colored helmet to be a leader. You don't need a colored helmet to be, the chief. It's an attitude. But everyone's going to remember all the skeletons that happened when you put your application in to be the chief or the lieutenant or the captain or so on. So I'm getting into the mode right now with you of have a plan. What is your plan in the fire service? Or are you just going to go with the flow? You're going to wait for that application to happen. Seen it too many times. The application's out, nobody applies. Then they're surprised at who gets the job. They're like, oh, I should have applied. Yeah, you should have. Should have applied. Expect the unexpected, because if you expect it, you'll have less panic, right? That's part of preparation. So what do we got? Number 5 is
change. Absolutely.
Nope.
Whoop, I lost you.
There he is.
Yeah, you're back.
We're not going to change a thing. We're just going to do it differently. Oh, that's cool, Chief. Thanks a lot. Yeah. It's the same thing. If we didn't change, we'd still have horses in the fire station, right? If we didn't change, you wouldn't see the SAM system that's being used, where you can carry a mobile device around and you can pump 50 to 75 feet away from your truck, so you can pull the secondary line, you can connect your hydrant. I mean, technology. I would be talking to you online right now, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
So I had this discussion this morning, actually, with the head of a city on the mayor side, and we were talking about change and how resistant people are to it and how troublesome that is. Because what that really means is you don't have the mindset to look broader than what your beliefs are, right? So if you believe this is right and this is all you're going to believe in, you're going to bury your feet in one spot and you're going to close down the rest of your body to not hear a darn thing that could be good for you, right?
It's like standing in wet concrete.
Yeah. You know,
Absolutely.
the best officers or the best firefighters I've ever had are the people that are listening on the outside. They don't necessarily agree, but they continue to listen. And I've always said, this is the difference between debate and argument. Debating is when you and I get at a table and we say why we believe trucks should be red. This person says, I believe trucks should be yellow. You debate in a controlled environment, and then everybody has the information from two sides to make their own decision. Argument is when you close yourself off because you're not willing to change. That's a personal decision, by the way. You're not willing to make a change to listen to ideas. You don't have to agree with it, but we're all on the same team, right? We're all on the same team. So the beauty of knowing that we're all different is the beauty of our business. Because there is the statement, if you and I are exactly the same, one of us is not needed. Right?
That's right.
Yep.
And as I listen to these and as people are watching and listening, so far, I've been keeping track of the 5 we've hit so far. Guess what? They apply when you're still on the job.
Yeah.
They
Right.
really do. So does this one. So this is relevant to everybody, not just those who've retired or who are about to.
Yeah, and you know, just try to open yourself up. We've seen this. You know, I'm in Minneapolis. I mean, everything's going on right now in our town with the trials coming up, and we're emergency planning, all kinds of stuff. And I hear so many people. I mean, maybe you're down this road too, where you have some people you're just not friends with because you're just tired of hearing stuff, right? Because they're getting their information from a source that you may not agree with, whatever it is. I think what's important is, and I tell my kids this, is the individual you're getting your information from, are they credible enough for you to believe it? If they are, then you put weight on what's coming out of their mouth, right? If it's coming from a post, if it's coming from, here's what I heard, you know, those are some key words. Here's what I heard. This is what I think. Then we introduce this term called confabulation. And if you know Dr. Rich Gassaway, retired chief, talks about brain science and situational awareness.
He's been on the jump seat.
Yeah, he loves talking about confabulation. Confabulation is when you have certain pieces of the information, but you don't have it all. And because you're in a time constraint, you need to put that whole sentence together. So your mind fills in the blanks that you don't have information, and you disseminate that information if it's true or not.
Yeah.
Confabulation. And then that starts the chain of communication, which may not be factual. So when you hear the change in the station, that the chief is going to take all your trucks and turn them pink, the first thing I say is, where do you get your information from? Well, I heard it over here. Okay, are you sure that's what you're going to put your reputation on? Well, not really, but that's what I heard. Okay, well, let's go ask the chief, or let's go through the chain of command, find out the facts are, so we can get rid of the gossip, because gossip kills our organization. So the change could be good too. I've seen people fight over change, and then once it gets pushed through, they end up getting a $1.20 increase in pay. They can put in more hours, they get better benefits, and the whole time they're fighting the whole thing, you know? So what else we got there, my friend?
So tell us about mean people, Chief.
Oh, mean people. You know, let's face it, people can be mean. Everybody has a right to talk about you without your permission. Happens all the time. People can say things about you, they can talk about you, they can do whatever they want behind your back, and they have the permission to do that because freedom of speech, right? They can say what they want. But my dad always told me to protect my reputation at all costs. So if I know somebody's spreading things that could be harmful of me, not gossip and BS, because not everybody likes me, right? Not everybody likes you. But protect your reputation and try to approach people and say, hey, I heard that this might have been said. Is that true? Because I want to try to help you understand what the reality is of that, not get in their face and that kind of stuff. But people have a right. People can be mean. The key is a lot of times there's a reason for them to be mean. I found as a reflection as a fire chief that it was best for me not to have personal relationships with people that I led. That was just a choice I learned in the military. The sort of the non-commissioned officers and the officer segregation kind of thing. But I'm going to be your friend and we're going to have fun and we're going to work together and be the best work buddies. But I always measured my friends by who's eating at my table. So if I have you eating at my table and we're hanging out together and our families are together, if you said that you didn't like something about me or that was a really bad decision, I'm going to put a lot of weight on that, and I have friends, all of you do, around the country and in your neighborhoods that you would probably open your ears up a little bit more, including your family members. There are signs that we miss. There's signs that I've missed in my career where I thought I was making a huge impact by being on all these committees, by doing all this. I was going to solve all the problems of the world. Streich was on that too. But you know what it did? It took a lot of time away from my family and it really didn't make that impact. You could go talk to the 8 to 12 people that were hired since I've left and they have no idea who I am. They just don't. People can be mean. And what always impresses me, I don't want to say, I guess what impresses me is when the firefighters on the floor recognize that their peers are being mean and they take care of the problem on the floor. Okay? If you have somebody in the department that's creating an issue for whatever reason, and we all have to feel that out, right? I'm talking about people who are consistently disturbing the mood of our organization. Those are the people. The rest of us should be taking care of that problem. If it gets to my level, employment law, I got to follow these rules, I got to follow the SOPs, and we'll take care of it. But a lot of times on the floor as a lieutenant and a captain, I could deal with it just by having the courage to do my job, to go up to somebody and say, hey, you got a minute to talk? I love you like a brother or a sister. Here's some things that are going on. Are you okay? Notice the mood change. I want to make sure you got all the resources you need, but it's disturbing. And I didn't just notice it once. I'm noticing it on a regular basis. And some of our new people are sort of shying themselves away from you because they don't want to be part of a reality TV show, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, being mean. Yeah. Focus on your goals. I can't tell you how many times in my career I focused on many other people's goals, and it stalled me from doing what I wanted to do personally or what was best for the organization. And if we focus on our own goals, in order to do that properly, there's a word that you have to use on a more frequent basis than you are now. And that is the word no. No is a super powerful human tone that comes out of someone's word or someone's mouth that can protect you. And it can protect you, but not, no, I'm not doing it, this. It's, I don't think that's best for my goals. I don't think it's best for my family. I don't think it's best for me. So I'm sorry. I appreciate you thinking of me and considering me, but I have to say no to it. And I can't tell you how much relief that word gives you, especially as a leader, but even as a human, to say no and say, I need to get my degree. I've been saying yes to everybody else. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do your training. I'm going to do that. But in the meantime, 2 years has gone by when you could have had your undergrad done. I'm just throwing examples. You could have had your barn painted, whatever it is, because you keep saying yes, thinking people won't like you or it'll affect your leadership qualities. It's just not true. Sure. More and more of us are feeling no is a pretty powerful word to help us and to protect.
And that saying no when it's this big is a lot easier than trying to come back later and say no when it's going to be this big.
Yeah, I like that.
I've learned that. I mean, it's way harder later.
Yeah.
You know, you've already set an expectation. You've already told people what you're going to do. Now you got to go back on your word. You know, it's way harder. And whatever you disrupt in the process,
That's a really good point. That's like saying there's an opportunity for you to take on a committee chair position, let's say, or you're going to start a new cancer awareness program in your organization, which is all commendable. So they come to you because you're the one that they think can get the job done. And you already know back here that you've got 50,000 things going on, right? And you've got soccer, you've got all this stuff going on. You're building a tractor in your garage. You are doing all this stuff, but they came to you. So now you're going to take that monkey and put it on your back too, and you're not going to be able to properly produce it the way that you probably could because you said yes too early, I guess. And like John has said, to say no later once everybody's expecting you to do all that stuff is, yeah, I like that. It's just a bigger no. So
yeah.
Say the word.
Say it. All right. Number 9.
Be the super fan.
You know, how many times, when's the last time you went up to someone you know and looked them in the eye, put your hand on their shoulder and said, you know, I'm really happy that I work with you. And they're going to laugh at you and you grab their shoulder a little hard and say, no, I'm serious, man. Every time you're here, you're a rock star. You're the first one that gets the gear out. You're checking the meds. You show up on time. You're not the 20%er. You're the 80%er. You know, in every time I come here, even though I know that you may not be in the best mood, I feel good being around you. We need more of that. We need to be a super fan for people. We need to stand up and rather than focus on ourselves, we need to say, hey, Chief, can I have a minute? Yep, what do you got? I just really want to thank John and Dave for their time. They created this really cool podcast called Jump Seat, which shares experience from a wide variety of aspects in this country that helps me become a better firefighter. And I just want to take time to say thank you. You know, I know it takes John's time and Dave's time and their family's time, and but what they're producing and what they're doing has strong purpose, and I want to congratulate them and thank them for that. You know what that says about you as a human being? It's phenomenal. I love people like that. When's the last time, if I have anybody on the call, that you nominated somebody for an award? I've sat on awards committees for years. And believe it or not, there are people winning big awards or earning big awards with one nomination. All that came in was one nomination. And we used to search for people to give the awards to on some organizations I've been part of. And finally I said, no. I'm the chair. Here's what's going to happen from now on. If we don't get any nominations, we don't have an award. That happened for a year. And we didn't give any awards out at the banquet. Where are all the awards? Nobody applied. True story.
Yeah.
Changed it around a little bit. But I mean, just a letter in a file. We lost our ability to just be personable. And this is my experience, you know, to be personable and write a letter. If you're in a leadership role, putting a little card or something where it looks like you actually took the time and you said, hey, thanks for the work you do, or nice job on that attack, or just having some fun, you know, way to drop the lady on the lift assist, you know, whatever it is, you know, have some fun with it, but let people know that you're paying attention, especially as a leader. Yeah. We tend to focus on the negative too often when we should be flipping it around. So be a super fan, you know.
That's gold. I like it.
Yeah. And the final one, you know, good reflection is life is short. I was the ceremonies and protocol team leader at the Minnesota Fallen Firefighter Memorial since its inception. I was there when we put the shovel in the ground to build the memorial. And a lot of people did a lot of good work to get a really nice fire service memorial at our Capitol grounds. And every year, the last Sunday in September is Fallen Firefighter Sunday. And fire departments from around the state come in, and we memorialize all of those who are on it and those who have died in the line of duty the year prior. But I can't tell you how many times I've traveled around the state for firefighters who have died either in what we call as a type 2 line of duty death. Type 1 is you were actively involved in fire tactics within the last 24 hours, the Hometown Hero Act, and you passed away. And you're protected by the federal Hometown Hero Act legislation, and it's a line of duty death. We have type 2 line of duty, which is an active firefighter who did not die in the line of duty, but they're an active firefighter. Can't tell you how many funerals I went to prior to my retirement. Probably one of the driving forces for me to say, you know what, life is short. I left at 52. Life is short. They were younger than me. Most of the funerals I was attending were in their 40s or early 50s. And it's heart disease. It's all the stuff you're aware of. It's suicide on the rise, skyrocketing, cancer, just all the stuff. And life is short. And this job can become your identity, and it's all you know and all you've become. But there's more to life than being a firefighter. There's more to life than hanging out at the fire station all day or talking about friction loss formulas and calculations. You are a human being, and you have a family and friends. And I want you to sort of find or sort of think about when you climb up the ladder for a period of time to make an impact. Because really our goal, the Chiefs sort of rule, I guess, if you were really to talk about it to a bunch of chiefs, is the rule is really, let's try to make a couple big progressive moves while we're here. Let's not go backwards. And if all of us can be progressive in some way moving forward in the time that we're serving, all of us officers and all of us firefighters, eventually this wheel is going to continue to move forward. But there is a different you there. What is it? What is it? Because if we know statistically, and I can see it, if you're going to stay in this job and this is all you've become and all of who you are till you die, you'll probably die younger. So who are you? What are your goals? What is your focus? What is your purpose? Those are the things that I've reflected on in the past year, especially with the loss of my father and me taking care of him in hospice until his last breath and holding his hand for his last heartbeat. Is, life is short. I'm already 52 years old. Where did that time go? Because it wasn't long ago I was happy-go-lucky, hopping on the back seat in a jump seat back in the day, in the back of the old 732, racing back to back down the old road. That went by in a blink of an eye. So,
wow.
Do your job. Do it well. Be a good person. Protect your name. Fight for what's right, but be respectful. Be professional, so that when you climb down the ladder, people remember you as that type of person. Because we all know people who are mean and change our organization, that when they leave, that's the last thing we know about them, right? These guys are knuckleheads. But they didn't start out that way. They probably did some pretty progressive things, but they typically only remember the last 6 months to a year, especially our millennials. There's a new app every month. So there's got to be some new change every month, and that old app is gone. We're still talking Hotmail, MySpace, and all that kind of stuff, I have a Facebook account so I can watch my kids. My kids said they don't have a Facebook account. The only reason they have one is so they can watch their parents, So, so they're already down on the next app. So now we got to dial into Instagram and TikTok and all that other kind of stuff to stay up with them. But there's some reflective moments there,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I put the title back up here, and the more I listen to it, this could be lessons climbing up or down. I mean, truthfully, most of these they were extremely relevant. So I just want to say thank you for sharing that. And you probably never intended for this to happen after you typed that out, but
no, I did actually.
It's some gold.
No, I think it's something that we should reflect on, and I think they are great life lessons, not only just for the fire service, but in life as a whole. They apply to the business world. If you're watching this, you're not a firefighter, you're in the business world. They apply just as much there, and I would say probably most aspects of everyday life. And so, Chief, you kind of framed it to the fire service, but it's multifaceted here, and it make us sit back, think about where we are, where do we want to be in life. How do we get to the point where when I'm 52, I'm sitting there retired like Chief Streich there, right? And unfortunately, I got a couple of kids that'll still be getting ready for college when I turn 52, so I don't think I'll be ready for that one yet.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's a great message, and we really appreciate you coming on here. Grateful to have you as a friend of the show, a friend to us, and to be inspirational to many, many others out there as well.
Yep. And for those who don't know, he also has a consulting group where they do a lot with public sector work, agencies, and maybe even some private work too. I'm not entirely sure, but feel free to check out some of the things that Capstone's doing. They're movers and shakers, simply put.
Thanks for your time. The final note is, if you're going to retire, if you're going to leave the fire service and you're going to do work after the fire service, don't tell them you're retired. Just tell them I can't tell you how many times. I thought you were retired, Streich. I said, yeah, I've retired from the public sector. I'm working in the private sector, and guess who's hiring me? The public. Yep. So yeah, it's all good. If there's anything you all need, or if there's any conference or anything I can speak on, I do a lot of speaking on dealing with difficult people, leadership and human resources stuff. That's my background. But anything I can do to help, and certainly come back on the show. I love the Jump Seat crew and the purpose of it. And I do think that you guys deserve a big pat on the back. You're progressive. You're thinking forward. You're sharing knowledge. We don't know what we don't know unless we get some sort of different perspective. We're always going to be in that same lane. So this show does that, and I really appreciate it. And I look forward to coming back.
We'll be seeing you next time in the Jump Seat.
All right. Be safe, and guys and gals, thanks for serving.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Chief. Take care.
Enjoy retirement. We'll see you next time. What a good piece there, and yeah, a lot to digest there for current and retired folks for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, John, and it's really something to think about. And I think I really liked what Kevin Austin. I threw it up there a minute ago. Kevin, thanks for the comment there, but I think live long and prosper. That's the key piece that he had there, and so. I really do appreciate Chief Streich coming on again and sharing his message. I look forward to having him back on the Jump Seat many, many times in the future. John.
So Dave, I was going to say, it's your turn. What do we got? What do we got coming up here on the 26th? Is there something?
So we're going to change things up. The last couple shows have all been, bringing on guests and talking about, different things or topics in the fire service. It's been a while since we've taken a plant tour. And so I think it'd be awesome for us to actually go show off one of our facilities. Now that we're limiting the restrictions a little bit here and there and allowing us to get back into our operations, we're going to take all of our guests into Hale next week. Actually, I guess it's in 2 weeks. It's not next week. So just so everybody's in the loop too. We're actually going to every 2 weeks now. So John and I, our schedule's just getting busier with the kind of post-COVID kind of pieces of the puzzle. And so we're going to an every 2 week episode. And so we'll be back on March 26th, so 2 weeks from today, 3 o'clock Eastern time. And we're going to take a look inside Hale products, and we're going to deep dive. How is your QMax made? What goes into the effort of building a pump, testing a pump, and getting it out and into your apparatus that you drive around and tackle the beast with every single week? So it should be a great show. We're having Jeff Van Meter, one of the product managers, take us through a plant tour there. I'm looking forward to it, and really something you all shouldn't miss.
Yep. Some folks have got to probably take plant tours, but the large majority probably haven't got to see what goes on behind the doors at Hale Products. And I know it'll be a great show and just a chance to see how it's made. We've all seen how it's made, the show. We're going to make our own little version of that in the jump seat. So stay tuned for that. More to come.
As always, John and I. Yeah, absolutely. As always, John and I love hearing from you guys, and share your comments. If you want to see something, you want to know more about the fire service, we've got our contacts right here at the bottom. Throw it into a comment on any of the jump seat shows, or send us an email. We love to incorporate your ideas, suggestions into the show as much as possible. As John said, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you share us. And hit those likes at the bottom of those comment fields. And we'll see you again next time in the jump seat.
Take care.